Coming up on Mountain News this morning, an Eastern Kentucky Fire Department remembers the life of one of its own who lived to serve her community. And an Eastern Kentucky city honors the memory of a local hero who fought in the deadliest war in world history.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. 6:32 on this Monday morning. I'm Dakota Makris. We are on HNI right now, but if you would like to watch Queen Elizabeth II funeral procession and services, you can do so on our main channel over on WYMT. And let's take it over to WYMT's Brandon Robinson for a check of our weather this morning. And Brandon, just fog, kind of, I wouldn't say chilly outside. Comfortable, maybe?
Comfortable in most locations, a bit chilly for some this morning. So maybe some light jackets in the southwest Virginia, far eastern Kentucky counties. But for the rest of us, 50s and 60s. So not overall too bad again. So let's take a look and see what's going on with the fog first. And we'll take you to a live camera there this morning. Zero visibility, Logan, Middlesboro, and Jacksboro. 1 mile visibility at Harlan. So it's not as bad as it has been out there. But again, just be careful. UVA-wise, we are seeing a few clouds and 55 out there this morning. Visibility at 10 miles, even though it's, again, a little bit humid. Dew points are still in the 50s this morning. And temperatures across the board are in the 50s except for Somerset at 63, Jackson at 62, Pikeville at 60, Prestonsburg at 62, Irvin at 60, and then Moorhead and Ashland in the mid-60s there this morning. Again, you can tell where the clouds have not reached completely yet, and you see where the clouds are this morning. 4 degrees warmer in Somerset and Williamsburg, 5 degrees warmer in Richmond, but 7 degrees colder in Jonesville, 4 degrees colder in Logan and Harlan, and 5 degrees colder in Hazard. So we're heading up by 1 o'clock to about 79 this afternoon, especially if we can get some sunshine in here. But again, it all depends on the cloud cover. I do think we make the low to mid-80s this afternoon. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, convicted school shooter Michael Carnell gets his first chance at parole. Nearly 25 years after the deadly attack at Heath High School in Paducah, the Kentucky Parole Board will conduct his parole hearings beginning at 11 o'clock this morning. That's when victims of the December 1997 shooting and their families will get the chance to address the board. Board members will question Carnell himself on Tuesday. Carnell has been held at the Kentucky State Reformatory since he pleaded guilty but mentally ill to the deadly shootings. He is the first school shooter in Kentucky to be eligible for parole, and he could become the first in the U.S. to be granted parole. The Kentucky Supreme Court has suspended an Eastern Kentucky prosecutor who promised to help a defendant in exchange for nude photos. Ronnie Goldie is the Commonwealth's attorney for Bath, Menifee, Montgomery, and Rowan counties. Although the court temporarily suspended him, it said in its Friday order that only the General Assembly can remove Goldie from office through impeachment. The Courier-Journal previously reported Goldie exchanged 230 pages of Facebook messages with a woman defendant. Goldie has testified he doesn't remember sending them. The woman has said he withdrew warrants and had cases continued in exchange for photos. She said she also had sex with the prosecutor. The Thousand Sticks Volunteer Fire Department is mourning the loss of one of its own. Leslie County native and honorary Thousand Sticks Volunteer Fire Department member Karen Gilbert died Thursday at the age of 64. Those with the fire department say they will cherish the memories they had with her.
I know it's hard for her family, and I know that she'll be missed around when we have events and things at the fire department. We're praying for the family.
Gilbert's wake was held at the Stinnett Church of Christ this past Saturday, with funeral arrangements also being held at the church on Sunday. And the London Laurel Rescue Squad is asking for donations for a local firefighter who recently lost everything. John Allen's home was destroyed last week in a fire. He and his family of 7 are now out of a home and in desperate need of items like clothing. Anyone that wants to help can contact the London Laurel Rescue Squad. The city of Harlan honored a World War II veteran this past weekend. Our Chandler Wilcox details how the community celebrated the veteran's life with his name labeled in the town forever.
Harlan native Basil Collins spent more than 3 years as a prisoner of war in Japan during World War II. He died in 1980 at age 63, and now the town is naming a bridge after the veteran.
It's just an amazing blessing to get to come out here and remember Basil.
Myers met Collins at an underground coal mine in the 1970s where they became friends.
We took up from there, and I worked for him for a long time in a variety of different jobs.
Myers eventually became his caretaker, making them family.
Basil he was like a dad. He was a great mentor, a person to go to for advice and wisdom.
Dozens gathered at the honoring ceremony for Collins, all celebrating his life and expressing excitement that his name would be presented for good. It all came from Collins' kindness that he made so many friends, worrying about others even when disaster struck in the 1977 flood.
He said, "Oh, John boy," he said, "all my babies are flooded. They're all ruined." And he said this without reminding us that he had 5 foot of water in his own house the day before.
Even with all the people Collins came close to, Myers got maybe the most memorable item representing the veteran's life.
It's a hat he wore every day, wore it underground. It was just a piece of him. When he got out of the truck in the morning, he put it on and kept it on till it went home.
Even 42 years later, a local hero still has a touch on his friends and family. In Harlan, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, that bridge is located right off Highway 421 between KFC and Walmart. Dozens of war veterans are back in Kentucky after a memorable time in the nation's capital on Saturday. The honor flight takes World War II, Korean, and Vietnam veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials built for them. This was the first trip for Honor Flight Kentucky for the war-era vets since 2019. The last 2 trips were grounded for COVID-19, but the vets and their guardians were finally able to take off during the weekend.
Was canceled twice in 2020, canceled twice in 2021 because of COVID-19, was put on a priority list last year.
Well, all good things must come to an end. Saturday was the last day of the Black Gold Festival in downtown Hazard. And what a better way to begin the morning than with a parade. Hundreds gathered along the streets of downtown. Several of us from WYMT even rode in the parade. Parade participants threw out candy and waved hello to festival goers. The organization Feed the Streets was the Grand Marshal. Those with the Black Gold Committee say the organization was chosen for its hard work in the community and with the homeless population. And a special guest performed downtown for the final night of the festival. American Idol winner and Lawrence County native Noah Thompson stopped by the Queen City. Take a look at this video a viewer sent us from the concert. Well, we'd like to thank Tasia Stephen for sending us that video. Noah also had another performance that same night at the Poppy Mountain Music Festival in Moorhead.
Coming up on 640 here on this Monday morning, we're tracking some rain in from the north and west, but what's happening is it's battling against high pressure, which is down to our south. So we're going to continue to see it kind of come through pretty quick, and then all of a sudden it starts to fizzle out there as it hits that drier air. The clouds will make it through, but I don't think much of the rain does until later this afternoon. Temperatures, the further south you go, the cooler it is, 52 in Jonesville and Clintwood, but the further north you go, the warmer it is. 64 Moorhead, 63 Ashland, 63 Somerset, 67 in Lexington right now. Your out-the-door forecast features a mix of sun and clouds for much of the day. Some fog this morning. Temperatures get into the 80s this afternoon, but I do believe we see some late rain chances. Stray, but they could be on the table as we head later into the afternoon and early this evening. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you so much. Well, the time is now 6:40. Still to come here on Mountain News this morning. People diagnosed with ADHD might have some troubles getting access to their medication. We'll have the reason why in just a few minutes.